Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers showcase video. In today's video, we're looking at another small fighter, and this one is very unique because it has folding down rocket launchers. Yes, this is called the Zeta Storm, which is this lovely thing right here. So it's a small hydrogen-based fighter with rocket pods that have all been scripted up to act on a salvo, so they fire in a certain pattern, and it can fold all the way up like it is now when it's ready to dock, and then when we take off, we can fold them all the way around and under the ship to make it look a lot more fancier. Pressing F10 and finding it in the spawn menu, this thing is 768 small blocks, requiring the Wasteland DLC pack, and that is generally for the lights around the ship. So we'll give this a little thumbs up like so, and we'll take a look around the outside. So coming all the way over to here, this is what we get at the front. We've got our fighter cockpit to drive this thing around, and it's been surrounded by some white and red carbon fiber blocks. Just below our cockpit, we've got our brand new spotlights from the Wasteland DLC pack, and just below that, 4 Gatling guns to blast your enemies with. If we move onto the side, we've got 2 large hydrogen thrusters, surrounded by some more blocks to make sure they're nice and protected, and they'll come across over onto the side, where we've got some more white blocks and the start of a few little black blocks. On the side here, we've got some small hydrogen thrusters to help us on our left and our right, and we can see the sides of our large hydrogen tank. If we move further towards the back there, we're going to see where our thrusters have been connected up, and a little gap here for you to come all the way over to here, weld stuff up, and most importantly, make sure your rotor is working. Because the rotor will come up onto this thing, which is the red and black carbon fiber that comes all the way from the back over to the front and to our rocket pods. We have got 5 rocket pods on each side, and have all been nicely protected up by some steel blocks, and it does look amazing when it fires them all at the same time. In fact, I'll fire them all right now. So coming like this, moving all the way around, let's fire straight forwards. There we go, look at that, it's like a machine gun of rockets just blasting the side of that mountain. Yes, we'll stop that and continue around the side. So yes, coming back to where I just were, that little gap there is where our rotor, like I said, is connecting onto our rockets and all that. And then moving towards the back there, there's some more large hydrogen thrusters to push us around, and the red carbon fiber blocks, which are connected back up to the rockets. We've got some more of the Wasteland spotlights, and these have been used as brake lights. We've got 2 which will fold around with our rockets, and 2 on the main body. Coming past the main body and looking at it here, we can just see the edges of our thrusters, not as covered up as our front thrusters, but they are good enough thanks to the blocks that just sit over here. If we just come down and underneath very quickly, we can see a connector there to connect this thing up. We do not have landing gears on this, so we will need to rely on connecting up to a main base or docking it at a ship in order to recharge this thing and make sure we're firmly clamped down before trying to get out of the ship and do whatever. A bunch more small hydrogen thrusters to keep us off the ground, and I will mention right now that this is not enough for you to hover in an atmosphere. Even in a low gravity atmosphere, you will still slowly fall down to the ground. Yes, we can see the bottoms of our hydrogen tanks. Then moving all the way to the forwards, all the way up to here, and up to the top. There's not going to be too much we'll see up here because this is where our rocket pods are going to be sitting when we're not needed. The only thing which is notable is the parachute hatch at the back, where if something goes horribly wrong, we can rely on that to take us down to safety, basically. Yes, with that all done and out of the way, I think it's time for me to put the thrusters on, lift this thing up, like so, and turn the camera around. We can press number 5 to undo the rotor locks, and then we'll fold our rockets all the way around, like so. And then once they're done, lock them in place, and we can fly around like this. It looks very nice when it does it, and we can shoot our rockets straight forwards once again, and destroy that poor little, I think this is Titan, I can't remember what it is. It's a moon for the alien planet, I believe. Might be getting that 100% wrong, haven't been here for a very long time. Yes, we just fire our rockets like so. Anyway, for number 1 on our hotbar, we have got our Gatling guns, which is just the 4 below our cockpit. Not going to be using this too much, because the rockets are a lot of fun to be using. And yes, number 2 is for the rockets. Number 3 is going to be for our parachute hatch on top, and 4 and 5 is going to be for our rocket pods to tilt them all the way around and to lock them in place. You can of course lock them at different angles if you want, so you can have it maybe like that. So it's a little bit more flush than normal, and you can just fly it straight along like so. It's entirely up to you. You can just stop it wherever you want, set the limits wherever you want, and you can always tuck it up on top when you're done with it. Number 6 is going to be to lock or unlock our connector. 7 is going to be for our thrusters, on and off. Maybe it's not a good idea to have the thrusters where they're sitting, so disregard what I just said, because that is right in the way of a thruster, and we damaged a block. Yes, we'll just fold this all the way around like so, then I'll lock it in place. Yes, as I was saying, number 8 is going to be for our antenna on and off, and number 9 will be for our beacon on and off. Tab number 2, we then got controls for our power. Number 1 is for our battery to auto or recharge. Number 2 is going to be for our reactor on and off. And number 3 is for our O2H2 generator on and off. Tab number 3, 4, and 5 is empty, so it's time to fly this thing around. So moving forwards, in fact, we might come over to a better planet, because that's not very good for test flying stuff. It was the alien planet, I was right with that. Yes, let's just come over to Earth very quickly, all the way over to here. In fact, no, we'll just dump it here, I'm being silly. We can just fly this thing around space, and as you can see, we've got a nice lot of speed going forwards. Stopping as well is very good because we had the same thruster distribution forwards and backwards with 2 large hydrogen thrusters each. Moving left and moving right, surprisingly fast considering how few thrusters are on this. Moving down and moving up. Moving down feels a lot slower than everything else, moving up is a lot faster than everything else. That's bloody good. And then moving my mouse around, there is quite a lot of weight on this, surprisingly, for a small ship. When you spawn it in, you think it's going to be a very floaty thing. No, it's got quite a chunky control. So just coming over to here and checking our gyroscopes. There we go, we do have 4 gyroscopes and they are at maximum power. It is dragging a little bit, so you may want to shove one more on here, just to be sure. Yes, as for that, that is pretty much it for the Zeta Storm. I think what I'll do now, because this is a short video, is spawn in a nice large ship, and we can go and blast it. And I know the best ship to be spawning in here to test this, let's bring in the Albatross. There is another Albatross I could use, let's just go for this one for now. Spawning in this, finding my character, and we shall find out wherever it spawns. Pretty large ship, so it should lag out a little bit. And there we go, just move myself all the way over to the Albatross and we can start pummeling it with our rocket pods. I think I'm out of range there, but it should be decent enough. There we go, look at that damage going on in there. We are doing a nice lot, just removing the HUD there because we have unlimited rockets, no need to aim this. We can do quite a lot of damage with this. We're just tearing straight through all the armored blocks. In fact, we'll switch to the Gatling guns for the moment and start working over here. The Gatling guns, not as good as the rockets, of course, because we have a lot of rockets on this, but we can just keep pummeling this and just keep going around. I love this salvo script, which allows it to fire on a pattern. It makes it a lot more satisfying to fire groups of rockets, rather than having them all fire at the same time. Yes, we'll just stop that and have a little looky at the damage we've done. We definitely hit a tank there because we had the extra explosion, and we did a lot of damage to that large ship in a small amount of time. But I think to end this video, we'll do something that we haven't done for quite some time, and that is just ram it straight in there and see how it crashes. Yes, as per usual, there'll be a link to the ship in the description below, along with a link to the Skybox. I'll be back with another video sometime soon. Bye bye.